all the conspiracy theorists were correct. Every single one of them.
Right. Started well, innit? Look at that big red post-bath face. Big fat bloated pig man. Oh, fucking hell. Grey, fat, wrinkled, balding. So I have my hair cut every couple of weeks, and every time the sort of barber holds up the mirror, it sort of gets worse and worse, thinner and greyer, right? And this time they said, oh, those, I can see sort of like patches of scalp and everything. And I went, oh, that's temporary. Rosemary oil sorts that out. I went, oh, cheers. I thought it doesn't. I don't believe any of that. This does that. This plumps you up. This anti-aging this, and biology wins, right? But we had some rosemary oil, so I put that on. I thought, well, I'll give it a go. And then Jane said I smell like a roast dinner. So, oh, isn't it? So, I'm just going to get fatter and balder and die. Every day I wake up and go, oh, I ache all over. I've just taken an aspirin because I had a headache. I never get a headache. It's like there's always, you know what I mean? You getting loads of things I've never had before. I go, what's that? I've never had a pain there before. I didn't know that had stuff in it to have a fucking pain in it. But it's just... Oh, God. It was Schopenhauer said, life is pain. Why do I never get ill? Well, you do get ill, but you sort of... Unless it's like really life-threatening, I sort of still gig. I talked about it in my last show, my back went, I had like a weightlifter's belt on, trying to keep leaning on a chair once at a gig in Bristol. I've done it with flu where I could hardly talk. So, yeah, I don't want to cancel a gig. It's all that admin. The pressure's on, because people say things like, and this happens every gig. Someone says, I've flown from Australia, especially. And I think, well, this gig can never be cancelled. I can never. Oh, God. Oh, just the pressure of it. People are flying. And in Europe, they fly from all over Europe as well. If I played Paris or something, they just come from everywhere. They come from Greenland and Greece. And so I always feel like I can never let them die. Even just go out there and just go out there and say I'm dying, but I'm here. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't know why I've got that thing. But I don't know if is it control? Is it an OCD that I can't cancel something once it's in there? I feel like that as well. If I've got a thing and they go, a business thing, they go, oh, I'll see you at 10. They go, oh, can you make it 11? I want to go, forget it. I don't like a change in the diary. like fucking Rain Man. So, yeah. But I think mostly is I don't want to let them down. And then the admin is a nightmare. Not for me. Someone has to do it. But I don't... COVID killed me cancelling gigs and postponing them and moving. It just killed me. And then I quite got used to it. Yeah, no, I don't have a superpower. I never want to take no for an answer. I don't want anything to stop anything that's planned. So yeah, but I feel shit all the time now. I got this sometimes, and I have a little a twang or a headache, or I think is that a heart attack or is that a stroke? And I think just keep going. You know what I mean? You got to keep going, haven't you? You're not going to make it worse, are you? You're either going to die or you're not. So if you die, that's fine. You did your best, and you're at peace. So yeah, just keep going. I think that in general, just keep going. I treat my body like an old car, just an old fucking car. I'm just going to run it into the ground to just like fucking stops at the side of the road. And that's it. And someone has to come and take it away and fucking squash it for scrap. That's metaphorically my life I'm talking about. That's why the show's called Mortality, isn't it? I'm getting a cold, I think. I'm getting a bit chesty now. I can hear it in my voice. You know what I mean? Yeah, I've got something coming on. Fucking hell. Got to go to Liverpool this week. That's a good thing. I'm not saying I've got to go. I mean, I've got a gig this week. No, fuck, I've got to go to Liverpool. I love Liverpool. I'm saying I won't cancel. Well, unless I die, I'll be there. So yes, Dutch Barn. Buy some Dutch Barn. Register for Dutch Barn. Get the priority tickets on Wednesday to one of my gigs, or just buy it for Christmas. Buy someone. Oh, and that's another thing. Yeah, I also do. I've bankrolled that. That's my company as well now. Can of water. Get can of water. Sparkling and still. Also very sustainable. Aluminium to try and cut down on single-use plastics, destroying the oceans. So, Dutch Barn, can of water, mortality tickets. Fucking hell. Fridge freezer for sale. Thanks for following. See you soon. I've got to turn this off now, haven't I? Look, squinting already. Tatty bye, everyone. That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah. Tatty bye. I've hit that age where I go, well, they're all lying little. I hope you're bearing up with all this. It's not even all this, is it? It's all the uncertainty. That's what really gets me down. Maybe I don't know, maybe I've got some sort of OCD, but even in normal times, if I've planned everything, if something goes wrong or someone says, oh, I can't, I'll go, cancel it. Cancel it all. I'm never doing anything ever again. If I book a flight, right, and they go, oh, it's an hour delayed, right, never, yeah, you're never going to work again. Just everything's up in the air. You can't look forward to anything. Do you know the worst thing is, as well? Apart from the and the strain on the health service and people losing their livelihoods and that, the worst thing is in charge, do what they want. And you know what? I can you know, because the people in charge, the posh, privileged people in charge, were acting like Charlie Sheen. I mean, really rubbing salt in the wound. And as I say, I don't get political, but they're all. When are we going to stop taking went to Eton as a qualification to run the country? I mean, now. Oh, you've got our rules. Unless you're the Prime Minister. Political satire, isn't it? I don't get political. I feel like it though. I'm getting angrier and holding it all in more and more. Even live, I don't really get political. I think I've been naive. I've hit that age where I go, well, they're all lying, little corrupt. It was just lying in their own part, and I just think, I thought there was good guys and bad guys, but now I just think they're all little. Is that political? Is that some really nuanced insight into the workings of society? Greedy little posh. Good. That's why I don't get political. I've noticed all around, you know, there's a lot of annoyance and frustration, totally justified as well. Misinformation, anger, anxiety and depression, you know. But I do notice, I have noticed that it's getting a lot of people down. So, you know, when you can't do stuff, you think, well, I've got to do something. We're built like that. We've got to do something. You know, it's so this helped me doing this. Just, you know, talking. Yeah.
Apple roared into the TV game with a morning show, a superb drama, yeah. A superb drama about the importance of dignity and doing the right thing, made by a company that runs in China. So, well, you say you, but the companies you work for, I mean, unbelievable. Apple, Amazon, Disney. If started a streaming service, you'd call your agent, wouldn't you? So, if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So, if you win, right, come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God, and... So... It's already 3 hours long.
Yeah, okay. Well, I hope you're bearing up and right. Have a good time. Tatty bye, everyone. Be nice to animals. Tatty bye. I've heard you're bringing... Yeah, I heard you're bringing to my home city this month, Liverpool. I hope you're coming to visit me. I might be a bit busy, Joey. My question is, what do you like about Liverpool and can you do a Scouse accent? Right. Well, I've been to Liverpool very often, and when you do go to these cities, I get out of the car, I run to my hotel suite, I go to the gig, I run to the car, I run back to my hotel suite. So I'm sort of like a recluse, depending on where I am in the world. So I haven't seen a lot of it, but I'm obviously a fan of the culture. My new favourite Scouser at the moment. I just did Tony Bellew's podcast. He's a Scouser, isn't he? I'm trying to justify that I like Scousers. Can you do a Scouse accent? Oh, well, I can, but... Well, probably not very well. It might sound good in my head, but to people in Liverpool going, what's that? Oh, God. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it knowing it's going to be and you're going to laugh. Okay. Hello there, mate. How's it going? Why is that going up too high? Hello there, mate. How's it going? No, nearly. Well, they do that, don't they? They do that sort of Dutch thing, or is it Welsh? It's probably a Welsh influence, isn't it? Yeah, I like la. I can't do it. How's it going? It's not very good, is it? Is it all right? You know, I've got the gist of it, haven't I? That's probably as well. It's probably cultural appropriation, isn't it? I'm Scouse culture to make me look cool. I apologise to everyone in the Liverpool area. Joey's got me in trouble.
The far-right activist Stephen Yaxley Lennon, better known as Tommy Robinson, was today jailed for 18 months. He'd admitted contempt of court after repeating false claims about a teenage refugee. Well, Gareth Vincent is at Woolwich Crown Court for us this evening. So Gareth, what happened in court?
Well, this hearing, Mary, was the latest turn in a legal process which began some 6 years ago with a video which went viral. It showed a teenage Syrian refugee who was called Jamal Hijazi being attacked at school in Yorkshire. At the time, the man who calls himself Tommy Robinson posted a response to the video claiming that Mr Hijazi was a violent bully who was getting his comeuppance. That claim was not true, and Mr Hijazi brought a successful libel action against Robinson, and the judge in that case told Robinson not to repeat his claims anywhere else or in the future. Well, over the last 2 years, Robinson has been doing exactly that, most notably in a 90-minute film which features to this day prominently on his social media. On Friday, Robinson presented himself at a police station. He presented himself here today in court as a passionate and principled believer in free speech. But the judge reminded him that while he is entitled to criticise a court decision, Tommy Robinson is not entitled to disobey a court's order. And he noted that Robinson regards himself as above the law. And indeed, when he told the defendant that he could have his sentence reduced if he took down that libelous video from his social media sites, Tommy Robinson looked up at the public gallery where 24 or so of his supporters were sitting, and he shook his head and he mouthed the word no.
I'm cynical. We could start a conspiracy theory. I did I think one of the best episodes yesterday of Absolutely Mental, and we talked about what's the factor now in human evolution. How are we being selected? Because it's obviously no longer, just strength and speed, and it's still passing on your genetic material. But what factors in choosing mates and stuff, and like even social media. We go into it depth. We basically, humans gossip. Our evolution is based on it, right? So when we were little tribes, when we first got language, we'd gossip, right? We'd go, he's good at this, he's good at that, right? And that would raise his status, so we'd like him. And it was to control the group, like, he's not pulling his weight. Don't trust him. So that's how we built our, society, really. And then when society got bigger and bigger, we couldn't control them. So that's how sort of organised religion grew, in a way, because we could go, well, these are the rules for everyone, for all of us, and whatever you do, God's watching you or whatever, and it sort of again controlled all the tribes, and there were factors. It was all about status, because we want status. In a group, we always want status. Even little kids, they fight over a toy for status. They might not want the toy, but they fight over it. And traditionally, status in a tribe was usually who was the strongest, like violence. But again, with society, we sort of lost that as a factor, and there were two ways you could raise your status. One was be competent at something, be good at something, right? He's brilliant at that, right? He's the best at that, he's done well. The other one was virtue, like he's not very good at anything, but he is kind, or he is honest, so that would raise your status, right? So competence and virtue. And even religion gave that to some people, that if you weren't very good at anything, you could still have virtue, right? But with the death of sort of, organised religion, the next big thing for gossip was like journalism. People read papers and trusted them and everything. And with the death of that, now it's sort of social media. But the two factors still remain. In society, you're either good at something, he did this, it's all about reputation to raise your status, because you don't know them, you don't know the people, you can't know billions of people, so it's reputation. So he did this, he's great at that, or they're virtuous. Now, the thing with social media is, and society, people have realised they can just lie. They don't have to be really virtuous, they can just say they are, and that's what virtue signalling is. So when someone goes online, they're trying to bring someone down. They're going, oh, he did this, I wouldn't do that. Well, we don't know that. So they're pretending they're virtuous, but they're just not. So that's, half the people online, they're just lying. And I thought it was fascinating. It was just fascinating. how that's a new strain that you can be a social justice warrior and a total hypocrite. You're just bringing people down to raise because you're not competent. You haven't done anything. And that's why you find, like, in any sort of situation, people go after people who have done more than them. Do you know what I mean? You don't see Jerry Seinfeld slagging off new comedians, but you see new comedians or bitter comedians slagging off Jerry Seinfeld because they haven't achieved, they're not competent like he is, so they're trying to bring him down to raise their status amongst their tribe, their followers. So basically, just be nice. Don't be a cunt. I've always felt like that, and I've never heard anyone put it into words like that. But I've always thought, wonder why people are trying to bring people down. Whereas if they just concentrated on their own career, they'd do better. But they've wasted their careers slagging off people who've achieved more. But they would have achieved more if they hadn't been slagging people off. They would have achieved more.
Tommy Robinson has today been jailed for 18 months after admitting contempt of court in relation to allegations made against a Syrian schoolboy. The former EDL leader was banned from repeating the claims made about refugee Jamal Hijazi, who was beaten up in Huddersfield in 2018. He was previously ordered to pay £100,000 in damages after the 15-year-old successfully sued over videos wrongly claiming he attacked young English girls. But grey-suited Robinson accepted breaching a 2021 High Court injunction 10 times between February 2023 and July of this year. He made further allegations in various podcasts and interviews posted on online platforms like YouTube, X and Rumble. The 41-year-old also repeated the allegations in his 90-minute film Silenced, which was shown to protesters at a demo in Trafalgar Square. Robinson, real name Stephen Yaxley Lennon, was brought to the dock at 10:30 a.m. at Woolwich Crown Court this morning. The hearing was meant to last for 2 days, but early submissions saw him accept that he breached that allegation 10 times. Mr. Justice Jeremy Johnson KC revealed he received an 11th hour email on Sunday night indicating there was a resolution in the civil case. Robinson nodded and replied yes when asked if he admitted all 10 breaches in the 2 contempt of court applications brought against him in July and August. He was jailed for 18 months minus 3 days for the time he spent at Folkestone Police Station over the weekend following his arrest on Friday. Mr. Justice Johnson KC handed down a maximum 2-year sentence for committing contempt of court, but he reduced this due to mitigation and his early guilty plea. He said each individual breach is so serious that a non-custodial sentence could not be justified. The breaches of the junction are so serious that it can only be achieved by immediate custody. There is no realistic prospect of rehabilitation. The judge claimed Robinson regards himself as being above the law and slammed each planned, deliberate and flagrant breach as having a corrosive effect on the administration of justice. Mr. Justice Johnson added, in a democratic society underpinned by the court of law, court injunctions must be obeyed. Nobody is above the law. Nobody can pick and choose which laws and injunctions they obey and which they do not. Aidan Eardley KC for the Solicitor General claimed Robinson showed a clear intention to disobey the order and to keep disobeying it. He said, "This is not a case about Mr. Yaxley's political views or freedom of expression. It's about disobedience and undermining the court of law." Robinson was seen laughing when Mr. Eardley suggested the costs he should pay would amount to £80,000 with £50,000 to be paid on account. He blew a kiss to the public gallery and waved as he was escorted out of the dock and to the cells next to HMP Belmarsh.
I reckon I'm looking like Kim Jong-un, alright? Fucking questions. Oh, God. Well, some of you got that. I don't know how old you are, but that's Jim Crochet, who's no longer with us. Has been gone quite a long time, actually. And if you don't know who he is, you probably do know who he is, but don't know you know. He's written some classics, Time in a Bottle, That One, Operator. If you don't know who he is, check him out. He's just one of the great singer-songwriters of our time. Sort of pop, American folk. It's just great. I don't usually recommend a greatest hits album, but get his greatest hits as an introduction. You'll love him. Hello, how are you doing? I obviously, I've got loads of questions. I didn't ask for them now. I just get 1,000. So sorry in advance if I don't answer your question, but I'll get around to it eventually, or I'll try again. Mad times. But we're sort of getting used to them, aren't we? We evolve, we adapt. This is the new normal. Right, let's have some of your questions. Susie says, would you ever consider doing an animal documentary? Yeah, I have. For the sad animals, to raise awareness. You would be incredible, thank you. The sad animals need you. I have thought about it, but it takes an awful lot of time, and I also think there are probably better people than me to do it who have got more time. It doesn't need someone so passionate about animals. It needs someone who can be there and report almost. Do you know what I mean? A reporter will do, or a journalist, or a documentary maker will probably do a better job than me. There's some things I just couldn't cope with. I couldn't see. I'd go mental if I saw. I'd take a baseball bat to some people. So I'm probably not the best person to do a documentary. But I have one day I will. One day when my house is the sanctuary. Yeah, I realise I rub my eyes a lot on these things, right? And it's because I've always just had a bath, right? And I'm allergic to the bubble bath, right? It makes my eyes stick. And I've known that for ages, but I like bubbles. So that's like a metaphor for life, isn't it? I mean, if I gave up bubbles, I wouldn't have stingy eyes, but I like bubbles. Ollie Afterlife. Oh, here they come. You've been in a terrible shaving accident and had your face ripped off. That is a terrible shaving. What was I shaving myself with? A fucking lawnmower. Luckily, a new type of painless vegan face transplant is available. Good. I'll be honest, if I had to have a face transplant, I wouldn't worry about it. Well, one, vegan doesn't mean it's not meat in a way, because there's nothing. An ethical vegan could eat roadkill if they wanted. You know what I mean? So there's no. So they didn't have the animal killed to eat it. So if you could go around eating dead flies if you wanted, if you were an ethical vegan. But if I had a face transplant, I'd assume it was vegan in the sense that the person whose face it wasn't held down and have their face ripped off. I assume it was some sort of voluntary donor scheme after their death. So, oh God, like having a vegan kidney transplant. What's it made of? Beans. It won't work. It won't work. It's got to be a kidney. No, this is a vegan. This is a vegan kidney. Corn. It won't work. It will not work. Right. So I've got to have a face transplant. You can only choose one of two faces, of course. Kim Jong-un or Oprah Winfrey. Right. Which one do you choose? Okay. Well, I don't know what you're thinking, but this is surprisingly easy for me. It would be Kim Jong-un. Okay? For many reasons. Right. But the main one is, I think it would fit better. Which is a depressing thought, but that is my answer. I reckon I'm looking like Kim Jong-un. Alright? Fucking questions. Oh God. Freya, what has been the best highlight of your career? Oh God, there are so many. There's so many flying through my head now. Winning the first Golden Globe when I didn't even know what I was doing there. Was that 2003? 3, was it? I mean, the next day I was invited to appear in The Simpsons. I mean, that's pretty mental. Yeah, so things like Simpsons, Family Guy, Curb. That's work, though. That's work. Oh, highlight of my career. I mean, meeting David Bowie, being friends with David Bowie. Again, that's not really. That's like perks. What is the highlight of my career? Would it be a? I don't know. Do you know what? It might be doing the last Golden Globes. That 7 minutes, because it seemed to resonate, and still is. It was the 5th time, and I think it was the best time, which is always great to know. That's why people think I'm blasé with winning an award, like my 50th award. No, it's better, because it's much harder to keep up good work. So, I mean, I know it's like the first thing that comes to mind, but I'd probably say doing that 5th Golden Globes monologue, where I really put everything into it, and yeah, it's sort of it had ripples. Cheers, Annabelle. What was the first vinyl you were given and the first vinyl you bought for yourself? Right. Well, I can't remember. There's lots of answers to that, because I was given a load of old 45s by my brother-in-law. Well, all my brothers and sisters, older siblings. So, like, from the age of 5 and 6, I was on my mum's sort of Alba. What's it called? Alba? It was like a thing you opened up. I can still remember the smell, the plastic smell. It always smelled like something was burning. I'd plug it in. So I had all those 45s, like Elvis and Bob Dylan and the Beatles. But I'll take the question like this. I'll tell you what. The first album I ever requested that I was given was Cat Stevens' Teaser in the Fire Cat. And my sister got it for my birthday. The first album I ever went into town and bought with my own money that I'd saved up for was Roxy Music, Stranded. And I remember going upstairs in the Butt Centre, Reading, to this trendy record shop. I never afford anything in there. And I bought Stranded. I felt so grown up. That was in 1973. So I was 12. So yeah, Cat Stevens' Teaser in the Fire Cat and Stranded by Roxy Music, and I still listen to both. And I used Amazola on Cemetery Junction, because it was set in 1973, and my memories of Reading all mixed up. So yeah, Mark Zoom. Yeah, another one. I always wake up and something horrendous is going to happen. You wake up and realise your life wasn't real. And your real life is one of the 7 dwarfs. Should be dwarfs. I'm not gonna split hairs. Not when it comes. I've got bigger fish to fry. If I wake up and I find out I'm one of the 7 dwarfs, I'm not gonna go, it's dwarfs. Do you know what I mean? there's more on my mind than grammar, pronunciation, syntax. Will you be satisfied with your life or not? So you're asking me, right? I had a 20-year-long dream that I was an international superstar comedian, right? But I wake up in a log cabin with 6 other dwarves. Do you know what? I'll be honest, I'd be fucking gutted. I wouldn't be feeling happy. Oh, fucking hell. Daniel. This is fucking ridiculous. Oh,
I don't want to wake up. Daniel, what have you been watching recently? Any TV film recommendations? Loads. Right, okay. I've watched Caliphate. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Unorthodox. Quite a special show that. Really intriguing. Founder. Brilliant. I've watched football docs. I got hooked on that Sunderland Till I Die. And then I watched the Tottenham one. And then I just watched the Man City one. And now I'm a football fan again. I wasn't a football fan for the last 40 years, really. Just England. And it's got me back in the game. And I think you can watch these things if you're not a football fan. Like I'm not a basketball fan. I've been a couple of times and I like it, but it's bigger than that. It's a good documentary is bigger than its subject. Do you know what I mean? It has what it means to people, its place in the universe, not just it's a game or whatever. So I recommend those. Last Kingdom, pure fun, pure escapism. I love that. And of course, my current favourite that I'm bereft because I've just finished is Clem, the Dutch series, Blood Pact. It's remarkable, really, really good, and easy. It's just easy. It's so well laid out. It's just so well written and directed and acted that you're just there. It's great as well because it's not episodic at all. It's an arc. It's a long story. It's a serial. But the cliffhangers, you gotta go watch another one. It's great. You'll love it. So yes, watch any of those, and I hope you enjoy them. And if they're not in English, watch them with subtitles. Watch them not in English. Bella, you love a bath. Just Bella's a whippet. But I hate them. So if I rolled in something smelly and turned up at your house, how would you convince me to get in the bathtub? Or would you just send me away? I wouldn't send you away, Bella, but if you stank, I probably wouldn't invite you in. This isn't a hotel. You can't just come round. It's not a DOS house. I might offer to hose you down in the garden. But I love a dog, but no, you're not gonna come in and tread fox shit all over the house. All right? You can't get to the bathroom without walking on the stair carpet. So if I had one downstairs, I'd let you get in it, but no. Could I just say that Bella's a dog, by the way? This is some mad person who's asking me. I just want to make that clear. If you just tuned in at that moment where I'm saying, no, Bella, you can't come round to my house covered in shit and have a bath, I'm talking to a dog. Sometimes I forget. Gunnar, who's another dog. Why are people so confident in beliefs that can't be proven? I guess it's human nature. If people want something enough, they can believe it. They don't want to. I mean, if you're talking about spiritual belief, I don't think they want to think they're alone and then they won't exist or be anywhere. So I think it gets people through. Also, I think you sort of, because a child's brain is a sponge. It has to believe things of its parents and its elders unconditionally to survive. Don't go near the fire. Don't touch that snake. Don't crawl to the end of the cliff. Why not? Just don't do it. So if they tell them there's a God, then it's hard to unbelieve that because it's so ingrained and everything's based on it. Like when I don't think there's any harm with telling kids, there's Pickle. Let's actually let her in. Hold on. Pickle.
Hello. Hello. Do you want to say hello? Come here. Pickle, come up here. Come here. Come here. Come up here then. Pickle, don't be shy now. Do you want to say hello to Pickle? You don't want to. Look, just say a little hello. Look, like Blue Peter. Hello. Hello. Go on then. Now I've got to let you out. To see. God, no, don't. No, not the light on the floor. Don't do that. Come here. Come here. Get out. Get out before. Come here. Come on. Come on. Good girl. Bye. Bye. See? That doesn't happen, does it? To newsreaders. I think people believe what they want to believe, and also what you're told as fact when you're 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As I say, you know, we tell kids there's a Santa Claus, but when they're 8 and they say, "Is there really a Santa Claus?" we go, "No, don't tell your little sister." You know what I mean? Imagine if there's like 32-year-olds at parties saying there's a Santa Claus. You'd go, "What? There's a Santa Claus." Good. So I think, I don't see, as I say, I don't think there's anything wrong with spirituality or believing in it, and if it doesn't affect me. Religion is when it does affect you, where religion comes along and says, "Well, it's this God that's right, everyone else is wrong, and if you do this, you'll get into heaven." When they use it as a stick to control people. But spirituality, I don't see anything wrong with it, really. I don't believe, but you know, that's because I've got no evidence. But I've never minded people believing in any God. And the funny thing was that as an atheist, I want a secular society, and that is the only society that would protect the right to believe all or any religious beliefs, because what you find is that the stronger the religious belief of one particular country and one particular God, the more prejudicial they are to other beliefs. And whereas a secular would say, we just separate church with state, believe what you want, everyone, but these are the rules of the land. It's a much fairer system. So you know, it's much more to each their own, really. Anyway, so that's why. The answer, I don't know. I don't know why. I should have been honest. I've no idea. Idea. People believe all sorts of stuff, don't they? Why do some people believe the Earth is flat? It's because they want to. Joey, who's a cat. If you found out that you had lots of Mickey Mouse living in your house, would you call the infestation of Mickey Mouses or Mickey Mice? Again, if I look around and there's lots of Mickey Mouses, I'm not going to worry about grammar. I'm going to go, what the fuck is going on? Right? My answer would be, if it's a point of grammar, I'd say it's Mickey Mouses, because it's a label, a name, isn't it? It's not a generic term, like a mouse, singular, and mice, plural. But Mickey Mouse is his name. So it would be, if they're all him, it would be Mickey Mouses, I think. There's lots of Mickey Mouses. What if they were in more than one house? Would it be Mickey Mouses in all these houses, or Mickey Mice in all these heists? Is heist the plural of house? Stupid question, Joey. Rupert, right, last one. Yeah, let's end with a... What happens if a very stoppable force, like a fat dog, meets a very movable object like your jelly belly? Thanks, Rupert. You can talk, you fat little fucking haggis. You bloated sandbag covered in fucking carpet hair. Right, this is Rupert's real question. Why are stupid humans still testing on animals? Good question. It's cruel, doesn't work, and barbaric in this day and age. Surely there is newer ways to test products. There are. Computer testing is more accurate than animal testing. There's 2 reasons why animal testing goes ahead. First of all, animal testing doesn't work. 93% of all tests that work on animals then fail and/or are dangerous to humans because we're so different. Even people have to have different treatments, right? And an insider who worked a lot with animal testing said all the millions of experiments they've done, all the animals they've killed and tortured, she said, all we've learned is how to cure cancer in mice. That's all they've learned. All the things we've discovered are despite animal testing, not because of it. And the reason it exists is one, I think early days people felt comfortable to hear test on animals. Oh, well, if it tests on animals, it won't hurt me, which is a myth, right? But they feel comfort. That got around, and of course, some people demand it, so they don't get sued, and it's like it's built a huge industry built up. But the main thing is, of course, the money. The people who breed these poor dogs, beagles, sometimes they get $2,000 for each dog to be tortured to death. Right? They don't care. And there's this myth that the next thing we might learn something. We might. So these thousands and thousands of poor animals, innocent animals, tortured every day for no reason. Computer testing works, but there's no money in it because it'll destroy an industry living off this. And it preys on people's sort of hope. They think, well, my granddad's got something, so I hope they carry on testing and they might find a cure. But I don't know anyone, even people who believe in animal testing. I don't know if you went to their door and said, we've got a chance we could cure your granddad. We've just got to torture your dog to death. They wouldn't. Who would say yes? They wouldn't say yes. So they know it's ethically wrong, and it doesn't work. I mean, it's a double whammy. So it doesn't work, and I think it will be phased out soon, Roop. I think more and more people will come forward, and it will be a thing of the past. And of course, there's scales. There's scales of testing. There are tests that don't hurt the animal, and some that kill it and torture it. And, those are the ones that most animal lovers object to. But there are not all things you try on animals are cruel and immoral. But I think in general, what we mean by animal testing are the cruel, pointless ones. Well, it started off shit. A cat came in, then we got a bit serious. Thanks for supporting everything. From a lost dog to trying to end animal testing. You're all lovely. Thank you. That was fun. I hope I'm not in a log cabin with 6 other dwarves. Again, who just tuned in. Thanks very much. Get your street dog. I've heard a rumour they might be doing this in Australia. So we're taking over the world and we're saving dogs whenever we can. And I scruffled about 50 dogs today, and nearly all of them are rescues. So it's great that we're making a difference. Thank you. Be nice to animals. Have a great week. Tatty bye, everyone. Tatty bye.
Ask some of the deadly serious questions
Yes.
that you would
Ready
ask.
the tables.
Okay, we're gonna. All right.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
We're gonna ask you.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Who's the funniest person you know?
Probably my brother Bob. He was my biggest influence growing up. He was like 11 years older than me, and he's a fatter, older, balder version with no restrictions. So that's my future. That's my future. I'm going to look like my brother Bob, and I'm going to be a better comedian in 10 years because. People. The funniest person you know isn't a comedian.
Yeah.
It's your dad or your brother or your best mate. So it's just that weight of like knowing someone. And,
does he know he's funny?
Yeah, it's always It's always been funny.
It's always-
I've always wanted to be funny like him.
Purposeful for him.
And I liked it because it was like a social skill. We could go into a room and just say what he wanted wherever it was. So I always admired that you know, he doesn't care who he's talking to, which I
Does he ever call you, like, after a gig or something that he sees and says, hey, Ricky, that killed, or hey, that was blah, blah?
He's come to all my gigs,
Yeah?
I talk about him in my gigs.
Yeah.
I ask him permission, and he goes, say what you want, I don't care.
Does he ever say you went over the line?
Too far.
I can't imagine. I don't imagine that's possible in my family.
Your whole family,
Honestly,
not just Bob.
It was all about
What about
truth.
Bob?
I remember, right, all my brothers and sisters are older than me. They're 11, 12, and 13 years older than me. And I asked my mum when I was about 13, I said, why are my brothers and sisters so much older than me? And she looked at me and said, you were a mistake. Oh! And I just laughed.
Yeah.
The truth is, they're all mistakes. You know.
They're all...
yeah, they're all mistakes. I don't know how it happened, to be honest. So, yeah.
All we need to do is take over the media in these NATO countries, and that's primarily social media, get one of our pawns elected as the president, and that president will control the military. So it's much cheaper and more efficient to win a military war by simply winning civilian elections.
How are you all? Did you have a good Christmas? It was good, wasn't it?
When did the government realize that they had to get actively involved in censorship, and what steps did they initially take to get involved in this?
It started in 2014 with the Ukraine fiasco, the coup and then the counter coup. The coup was great for internet free speech. I mean, you really do need to start the story of internet censorship with the story of internet freedom, because promotion of censorship is sort of the flip side of promotion of free speech. And we've had this free speech government diplomatic role for 80 years now. When World War II ended, we embarked. We had the international rules-based order that was created in 1948. We had the UN, we had NATO, we had the IMF, the World Bank. We had this big global system now. There was a prohibition in 1948 under the UN Declaration of Human Rights that you can't acquire territory by military force anymore and have it be respected by international law. So everything had to move to soft power influence. And so the U.S. government took a very active role beginning in 1948 to promote free speech around the world. And this was done through all these, initially CIA proprietaries like Voice of America and Radio Free Europe and Radio Liberty. And then the whole Wisner's, Wurlitzer, State Department CIA apparatus, all the early partnerships with the media and the war machine around propaganda for World War II continued through the Cold War. And then that hit the gas with promotion of free speech on the internet when the internet was privatized. It was initially a military project, so it was a government operation from Jump Street. And then in 1991, the World Wide Web came out, civilian use. And right away, the State Department, the military, our intelligence sphere was promoting free speech so that we could have a basically government pressure on foreign countries to open up their internet, to allow basically groups that the U.S. government was supporting to be able to combat state control over media in those other countries. So we already had this sort of deep interplay between government, tech companies, universities, NGOs that dates back 80 years. If you look at the evolution of NGOs like Freedom House or the Atlantic Council or Wilson Center and promoting these free speech things. So, but what happened was in 2014, we had about 25 years of successful free speech diplomacy. And then there was we tried to overthrow the government of Ukraine. We successfully did. And I'm not even arguing whether that's a good or a bad thing. But the fact is the U.S. did effectively January 6th, the Yanukovych government out of power in 2014. I mean, we literally had our Assistant Secretary of State for Europe and Eurasian Affairs, Victoria Nuland, handing out cookies and water bottles to violent street protesters as they surrounded the Parliament building and ran the democratically elected government out of office.
Someone just wrote my stepdaughter's school saying, we're going to show this film and it's got serious notions, but it also had some sexual language in it. But don't worry, we've taken out the sexual language. We restrict movies because they have sex in them, but we don't when people are being stabbed in the eye or their head is being cut off.
I think it was training day. I was watching in America. I was in the gym once, believe it or not. And it was like 2 p.m. in the morning. And there's a scene there where he's going, fuck you, no, fuck you. Fuck. And they changed that to forget you, right?
Yeah.
And then he shot him in the heart.
Yeah.
But then what happened is the eastern side of the state completely broke away. Said, we don't respect this new U.S.-installed government. Crimea voted in a referendum to join the Russian Federation. And that kicked off, that sort of set in motion the events that would end the concept of free speech diplomacy as like a U.S. government unfettered good. Because what they argued is we pumped $5 billion worth of U.S. government money into media institutions in Ukraine. That's the figure that's cited by Victoria Nuland in December 2013, right before the coup. $5 billion setting up independent media companies, basically sponsoring Mockingbird style our media assets in the region. And they still didn't penetrate eastern Ukraine. Eastern Ukraine was primarily ethnic Russian, didn't penetrate Crimea. So they said, we need something to stop them from being able to combat our media influence. And they initially called this the Gerasimov Doctrine, named after Valery Gerasimov, who was this Russian general. They took a quote from him saying, the new nature of war is no longer about military to military conflict. All we need to do is take over the media in these NATO countries. And that's primarily social media. Get one of our pawns elected as the president, and that president will control the military. So it's much cheaper and more efficient to win a military war by simply winning civilian elections. So that was called the Gerasimov Doctrine. That's what set up the early censorship infrastructure in 2014. 3 years later, the guy who coined that, Mark Galeotti, would write a sort of mea culpa saying, oops, I'm sorry. Gerasimov was actually citing what the U.S. does. But by that point, they'd already renamed it hybrid warfare. NATO formally declared its tanks to tweets doctrine, saying that the new role of NATO is no longer just about tanks, it's about controlling tweets. And then Brexit happened in June 2016. In July 2016, the very next month in Warsaw, NATO added hybrid warfare to its formal charter, basically authorizing the military, the diplomatic sphere, and the intelligence world to take control over social media. And then 5 months later, Trump won the election, being called a Russian asset. So all that infrastructure was redirected home to the U.S.
Jesus.
Well, I mean, you can't know it's a masterpiece because that's subjective. So however good you think it is, however good you're pleased with it, you've also got to know that as many people will hate it as love it. If it's any good, people will hate it because it should polarize. Really good things should be saying something. And because everyone's different, some people should hate it because it should be against what they believe or want to hear. Or so, you know, masterpiece is subjective term. So there's no consensus. Everything I've ever done has got 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, and 1 star. Everything comes out. You know, it's just you've just got to assume you're doing it for yourself. And so to know something's good is to be pleased with it, that you've done your best. I knew it was different. Because I went to it with a big string of don'ts, things that I didn't like, or you know, examples. I thought some things were really. Everyone's a critic, and I used to sit in front of the telly and go, "That's rubbish. I can do better than that." But you've got to put your money where your mouth is, and so you've got to do your best. Then you realise how hard it is. Now I don't do that really. I don't watch things I don't like. I don't hate watch anything. I don't slag anything off publicly because I know how hard it is to do a bad show. Let alone a good show. Let alone an amazing show. Let alone a show that everyone loves that goes massive. You can't even plan for that because great shows don't get watched and bad shows, some people do. So I knew it was different, and I knew it had turned out just like I wanted, and that's all. And the reaction wouldn't have made much difference, really. As I say, there are some people that hate it. So what does that mean? Well, it means nothing. It means everyone's different, so you've got to do it. You've got to do it for you. Do I get nervous when you put something new out there? I get excited. Again, I know the reaction. I know that
some people are gonna love it, and some people hate it, and everything in between. And most people, there are 7 billion people on the planet, most people won't watch it. So, you know, all you've got to do is get paid, have fun doing it, and try your best. The fact that someone keeps giving me money to make stuff, I've won. So you can't worry about a bad review or someone going, this is shit. In fact, you've got to encourage it. You've got to polarise. Titch. But thank you for saying. Did you say it was a masterpiece? I embarrassed myself. We used to just say, you go, I didn't say it was a masterpiece. No. If you did, then thank you. Have a nice new year. Stay safe. Right. Tatty bye, everyone. Be nice to animals. Tatty bye.